So we're pretending this is episode number 1 again, are we?
It is, yes.
That's what Rich said. You go do. This is pretending that we're starting again because this is our commitment to you, our audience.
Yes, that's 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Here we go. So that's a nice little intro bit. We all know how it works now, don't we? Yeah. It's good. Hello. Welcome to our weekend video with me, your host Benjamin Brutecox, and the little Welsh rogue that is Richard Shelton.
Yes, the rogue with the mostess. Hostess with the mostess. Rogue with the whatever.
With the nogue.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's like Ben said, we're back.
We've tried.
Yeah, of course.
We have tried, but I've had a 6-year hiatus.
I tried to reignite it. That failed.
Yeah.
Twice or 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
I think the last one we shot. I say shot. The last one we recorded was May last year. So we've been and even last year was a bit sporadic.
Yeah, our year in video. So
got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's been a long week. But
a long week.
So yeah, firstly, I've been, as people may or may not know, or people may not even care, and that's fair enough. I was employed for basically 6 years, and that led to my time just being completely restricted, basically. So I couldn't really do this stuff. Something had to give, and I'm afraid the podcast had to be it, which is a real shame. But now I am in the world and scary world of freelance again. And you know what? I love freelance. I do love freelance, but it can be a bit intimidating. Like just booking stuff. I mean, Rich, I know, because Rich and I actually did a shoot a week or so ago, two weeks ago, and you were saying that your wedding bookings are they're slow, but it's not just you. It seems to be a thing.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, I been talked to a lot of people about this. Not just videographers, photographers, even venues. Everyone seems to be down this year.
Even to the whole industry in general.
The whole thing, yeah. I mean, it was someone was talking to me the other day, and they were talking to a wedding venue company that own 3 or 4 venues in South Wales, and they're down about 150 weddings across their 4 venues for this year. Yeah, so obviously that then has an impact on the rest of us.
That is insane.
150 weddings less for photographers, videographers, florists, cake people, whatever.
That's just less than half capacity.
So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't think anyone knows why. Maybe it's cost of living. Maybe it's post-pandemic blues or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot coming up with. Obviously, we're in a recession, which, although the word is a soft recession. Which I get the feeling of that as well. But like, I do feel like there is, I think it's to do with, there's a lot of change. I think it's fairly imminent. A change of government, almost certainly. I mean, quite frankly, it's pretty obvious. So I can really see that being a thing. So I think people are just keeping their, what's the expression, coiffeurs close to their chest or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah. It's one of those blips. I mean, we had the financial crisis when I started doing this in 2004, and I gave up work in 2008, and then we had the financial crisis, which was the whole 2008 to 2010 recession as it was back then. And I did okay through that as well. So I got through that fine. So I'm hoping that this little blip as well is just another blip. Like, we got hit with a pandemic 4 years ago as well, and that sort of almost destroyed the whole industry. But it sprung back, so it will spring back. People will always get married, I hope. So let's just hope it is just
unless it becomes grossly unfashionable. Which could happen. I mean, the amount of. Did I ever tell you about my? Have you ever? I guess this is really interesting. Have you ever worked out your hit rating of people that have made it and who haven't?
No.
Have you never done that? So
no.
Obviously, the national. Is it nationally? Isn't it 60-40? 60% make it, 40 don't, or something like that.
Okay.
And I found it quite fascinating. So I went back through my 150 odd couples or whatever I've done over my seasons, and I thought, I'll just do a bit of stalking. and just see if I could find them. I was bored one afternoon. I don't waste my weekends, and I found out that so national average. I think don't quote me, but I think it's something like 60-40. Guess what my average was? That I will caveat that I could find out. And I found out that 2/3.
Oh, really? Wow. Two-thirds.
No, I found out, say, 100 couples. I found out 100 couples out of, say, 150. So guess how many didn't make it out
of that are not together. Are not together any longer. I'm just going to randomly say 50-50.
50-50?
50-50, yeah.
72% didn't make it.
Really? Oh, my
didn't make it.
Yeah. And interestingly, out of that, when you say you picked, say, a handful of them, could you look at that wedding or envision it and say, yeah, I can see that you're not going to make this?
Yes.
Any pointers?
A lot of them. I used to do this thing, which photographers in Gloucestershire and the Cotswolds certainly knew that I did this. It's an awful thing to do. It's an awful thing to do. At the end of the feature, I used to fade it to white or to black.
Okay.
And that was my little nod to myself to say, white, I think you'll be all right. Black, nah.
White is all right, black is no good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, my word. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's fine.
But I mean, I can't tell you. I don't know my details of whether I did that with these couples. But
I think there's definitely pointers sometimes in on a wedding day that you can look at people and you think, this doesn't sit right, really, but
we just need to have a code on the wedding group saying fade to black. Fade to black is like, nah, not gonna work.
No, this isn't gonna happen, I'm afraid. And then maybe some somber music at the end as well, like a funeral march or something. Right at the end. So like leave it black for like about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So they're not watching long, and then put a little, a little skull and crossbones, and a black.
I mean, that's quite on the nose there, Rich. But I mean, whatever ticks your box, you might get a few bits of feedback on that. But to have it hidden, I think, is the way forward. Anyway,
I'm just going to go off and ask you one question as well on a tangent there, in the same sort of vein. Have you ever made put yourself in the video as a cameo?
Well, not like Hitchcock style, like Doing the rings. Hang on, let me just butt in here. No, but like you're always in it, aren't you? Like you have the static wide or whatever. You're always going to be in it. I
wonder if that's very pretentious, I suppose, and being a bit too
do you
up
do
yourself
that?
a little bit. I don't think I ever have. I've thought about it. I think that might be a cool idea to maybe just have me walking across the background, but then. No, I can't say I have. I think my second shooters have probably ended up with it sometimes, or the photographer, but never me.
Yeah, but I don't think... The thing is, though, I always used to say to you, and I think you always agree with me, that dressed in black, you just look like a waiting staff member. Or some receptionist or whatever, and that was how I always wanted to be. Plus, black always helps you for not have any reflections, because obviously there's a fair few reflections on the day and all that sort of stuff. But I think it was never, certainly not ever on purpose. I would do that, because I think that's naff and terrible. Yeah. So I fully expect to see that on. Rich, why aren't you getting any bookings anymore? Have you started? This process?
It starts off as just a portrait of me, just smiling at the camera.
Yeah.
Welcome to...
Or frowning if you don't think they're going to make it.
This is Alison and John's wedding. Enjoy.
Do you ever see there was a guy who used to be a radio DJ, and he used to do that. He used to do a voiceover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was down in... I don't know the guy.
Like a little introduction to the...
He did the whole thing. Like, he did the whole... he used to write a script and do voiceover over the top of it. But I think he was mainly a photographer, but he did do the usual hybrid-y thing that happened about 10 years ago, where people were doing, my camera can film, therefore I'm a videographer too.
That's way pretentious, isn't it?
Let's stick to our mediums, guys. Anyway, and he used to do a voiceover. He had a very good voice. He was obviously a very talented voice artist. But I always thought it was slightly odd. It's like Rebecca and Rachel got married, were were in the throngs of their family whilst they, I don't know, whatever. But I don't know if he's still going anymore. But he was definitely down sort of West Sussexy direction. Well, that's why I met him anyway. But yeah, I haven't seen. But then I'm not, because I should say that I'm still not doing weddings. That's not my bag, baby, anymore. No. I'm doing other things, mainly YouTube stuff. But the Wedding Cut, which is my company, that I've just relaunched that actually. But it is my cousin, my second cousin, Will. He's going to be heading that up. He's like, he is less than half of Rich's age, so that's good. He's less half than my age. He's 20, basically. He's 20,
yeah, definitely,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Probably old enough to be his grandfather.
I just get sick of people like this. Anyway, I know. Yeah, I genuinely be his dad, and it's like, oh my god, I can't cope with this. Anyway, and but yeah, really nice guy. I brought him on at Fully Charged when I was there, and as is my sort of priority, I could look after my own a little bit. And but yeah, he's a bit equipment light at the moment, but we'll get there. And we just need a bit of a shot on the arm for the Wedding Cut to get some bookings. But as you say, this year not the best year. So are you going to retain sort of overall control of it, or are you just going to? There's the brand. That's the name of it. This is my web. This is the website. It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. So he doesn't have to completely start from fresh, which is the key. We take a chunk of the booking fee. So basically, I think we take 20% off any booking. He gets the rest of it. He does all the work. We look after the website, the emails, and any advertising. If you need to pay for advertising, we'll do that, and that covers that cost, whatever. So it's not completely residual, but the Wedding Cut was going for 10 years before I sort of knocked it on its head a little bit. And in that time we became, in the area, certainly quite well respected. So definitely. And so it's just trying to help him out a little bit, actually, because actually I actually let the emails lapse and everything, because I was about to literally just cut it off completely, but I kept it for a number of years, and just because I didn't want somebody else to get the name, because the name was quite good in my area. So and are you allowing him to to decide what to charge and how to film and style wise? I mean, he knows that I don't do any setups. Like, I never did any setups, as you well know. Like, he said to me, because we had a meeting yesterday with him, and he said, "Oh, do you do a shot where you get the rings together?" I said, "Nope. No, it's naff, it's awful, it's tacky, it's set up, and it just looks shite, in my opinion. It is not what the Wedding Cut does. So we just sort of... do
you all find that sometimes... I mean, I arrive at, say, the bride's house or groom's house or wherever in the morning, and the photographer is there. And obviously, I'm asking you this now. I know you don't do them anymore, but you would have done. And you get there, and because I don't do that type of thing anyway, so the photographer organises the bride's dress, and they do all the perfume shots and whatever. It's all nicely done. And then you arrive and say, "Oh, I'm Rich. I'm the videographer." Or if you've met before, "Hi, nice to see you again." And they say, "Oh, the dress is upstairs. Do you want to go and film that?" And they ask me if I want to do it, and I'm like, "Nah, no." And they're like, "Oh, all right." And they're sort of like, "Do you think they judge you then?" Think, well,
absolutely they do.
Yeah,
absolutely,
exactly. Yeah,
that's fine, because I mean, it's the dress is just a dangling piece of fabric. It's like filming a tea towel. There's just no point.
I've never seen a good way of doing it, to be honest. No. Unless someone can say to me, do this, I can't think of a way of making that look amazing.
For me, the only way that works is if you're going to use that as an overlay to, like, we used to say film a blank slate. Film a blank slate, so you could put some titles over the top or something. You could do that as long as it's well lit. You could have a bit of depth of field in there, and maybe it's a bit sparkly, it's catching the sun or whatever. But then you have it as a text slate. That is the only way for me that shot would be useful in any way, shape, or form. But I wouldn't go out my way. No way.
No. I mean, I've sometimes done it out of guilt sometimes, where I've been sort of like almost bullied into doing it, really. And I'm like, and the bride goes, "Oh, the dress is upstairs if you want to go and film that." I'm like, okay.
Sorry, what's upstairs? The breast is upstairs. Oh, fine. Yeah. Rich is a rat of a drain pipe.
Yeah, the dress is upstairs.
Right, sorry.
And I'm okay, I'll go and film that, and then I got there and just maybe do that. But I know a lot of guys just take photographs of them, and then manipulate the photographs into moving images and put that into the video. So, for example, if there's some nice perfume arranged shot or dress or whatever, or something interesting on the table, like a pair of shoes. I used to spend ages when I was first started.
I remember
arranging a pair of shoes on a windowsill or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
I'm never going to use it.
No.
So then I know, but some people they might do that and they'll just take a photograph of it and then manipulate it. But when I watch a highlights film back of somebody else's, not that I do that often anymore, but when I do it and they've done that, for me, that just looks like a still image.
Yeah,
and it doesn't sit right for me.
It's like we always used to say, know your mediums, and also there are some shots, and this goes back to the two completely different. Even though we've got cameras, they're both very separate. So the photographer will be getting shots like that because they have to get the detail of stuff. They have to, the Jimmy Choo logo. But to us, it makes no difference. What we need is a foot. Maybe if you are focusing on the Jimmy Choo logo, the foot's then going in.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the difference. I mean, you have to have motivation in the frame for almost everything. Not quite everything. I mean, it's quite interesting because I'm doing a reel now. I think that's how you say it, a reel. With
the kids,
it's full will, but I'm sort of going through all these things, and I've only got. In fact, it's quite interesting because the style of the last things changed, and I was doing a lot more. Handheld. I can't decide whether that I just didn't care, or whether I was just like, because the gimbal stuff, you could almost, I don't know, could you do a wedding without a gimbal and be happy?
I think you can.
No, you personally.
I mean, I've been places sometimes where it's where I've taken it. It's in the boot of the car, and then I've been somewhere. For example, I've left it in the boot of the car by accident or by mistake or deliberately, and then say, for example, they've said, "Oh, we're going to do the confetti at the venue." So I'm like, I won't get it out of the car now. But then they end up doing the confetti at the church. And it's too late because they're too fast. There's not enough time for me to run back to the car, get the gimbal, and come back to the church. So you end up accidentally having to film the confetti without maybe a gimbal, as long as you can do it right. In fact, I saw a video the other day. I forget who it was. One of the girls, Agni. I put a video up of her filming a confetti behind the scenes, and she didn't have the gimbal, I don't think, when she was shooting the confetti. But when I watched it back. So there's a shot from the back of someone filming her. She's walking backwards, just holding the camera, and then it goes then to see what the camera sees, and then it's shot the confetti, and it does look pretty stabilized. Whether or not it's obviously the active stabilization and the A7S3 is helping that out, but I'm rubbish at that. Maybe I'm getting old and too shaky. So, I find a gimbal hard work as well on the day because it hurts my back as well. It's a heavy thing to hold out in front of you all day. And I know Steve Ratcliffe pretty much shoots 90% of his stuff on the day on his gimbal, and then his second shooter does all the handheld stuff.
Right.
And then Steve just does all the gimbal.
I guess it goes back down to style again, doesn't it? It's I mean, having because I remember there was a big wave probably about 5-6 years ago where everything was tripod, everything, which actually, I gotta be honest, that doesn't look as dated as gimbal stuff. I gotta be honest, it does look classy. I think it's a bit potentially could be a bit lazy, but who cares really? I mean, you've got to, as long as you're covering what you need to cover, and you've got the decent quality with audio, as always, you need decent quality audio. But it doesn't. I don't suppose it really matters now. I don't know. I don't know. It's really interesting.
And again, yeah, I think perhaps tripods based stuff is then you've got the more elegant classical sort of style of wedding filming, where everything's nice and slow, and the frame is the movement, so everyone's moving in the frame. And then you've got people who just use handheld, and it's very quick, very fast, sort of cost assist stuff where it's very up and down, and lots of focus pulling as well. So I guess, and then there's the gimbal guys who would just use the gimbal and get all those sweeping shots of following people around, and then there's the drone guys who just use far too much drone on their videos. But for me, I just like to perhaps use all of those four elements in one. So I do use tripod, especially when my back's hurting during the drinks reception. I'm going to put on the tripod now and for a little bit, and then I'll use a bit of gimbal for those shots where I think I need them. Walking down the aisle, confetti, first dance, following them in as they go into the room. And then you've got handheld stuff, perhaps when we're doing a little bit more of a sunset-y photo shoot and you want to get catching the light, so you've got that where you're trying to grab the flare. So there's obviously necessities for each of those individual mediums when you're filming, but I couldn't just keep one. I don't think.
I think variety is key, isn't it? Really. But like, I remember I was obsessed with monopods. Are you still a monopod man or not? Yeah,
I'm not. Excuse me. I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and I have shot a lot of handheld. Just holding up with the EVF for the last goodness knows how long. But unfortunately, I can't hold the camera too far away from my eyes these days because my eyesight's not that good enough now. I can't hold the camera too close to it and look through the LCD screen because I can't see that close up. So therefore, I've got to put these bad boys on my square, my specs, and I can see that then. So I tend to use the EVF a lot more, which is a bit more handheld, I suppose. But it kills my back, man, as well. That sort of awkward. When a photographer takes a couple of snaps, done. Down.
Yeah, and you're there
with video. Video, you hold it at least 10 seconds every time. So this constant sort of almost hunching over, and you do that, for 12 hours a day, pretty much, and it starts hurting. So I am thinking perhaps monopod. Might get my glasses on, and then put on a monopod, and then I can hold it a little bit away from me. But then, it's just I'm thinking about doing a monopod again this year, but I don't know.
We haven't got many weddings to mess it up with, so it's all right.
Exactly. One of the two I'll use it on.
So Rich and I managed to work together for the first time in ages for a shoot. And that was pretty nuts. So to give you the context, it was a classic transportation race from Tower Bridge in central London to Gridserve in Braintree, which is an all-electric forecourt, like a petrol station, but for electric cars, basically. Very posh, and it's all very cool and whatever. Anyway, so the whole premise, so a client came to me and they said, knowing my background with Fully Charged and stuff, this was right up my street. I love that editorial side of things. And I said, right. Actually, they came to me and said, because their company is called Race to Zero, so it had to be a race, basically. And so we decided, she said, I want to do car, bike and public transport. And I said, absolutely fine, we can sort all this out. Which contestants do you want? Because she's going to present it. So it went back and forward. We had a few presenters and then they had to pull out and dates got changed. Oh, it was a nightmare. Anyway, Ryan Gilson, who's my producer, he basically managed to sort out the contestants. And luckily, Rich, you were filming Sarah Sloman on the day, and that was all public transport. I was so public transport was train, buses, that sort of stuff. I was filming Sweeney,
Chris, no,
Paul Sweeney.
Paul.
The reason I hesitate there is because I kept getting the names wrong in pre-production. Anyway, so Paul Sweeney. I was recording him in the car. He had a converted electric Mini, like a 70s one. So it's awesome, really good fun, especially around London. It's great. And Chris Kirby was going through on his bike, or on a bike, I should say. And for people who don't know, those people are quite big in the eco transport industry. So I know them from before. I hadn't met all of them. I met a couple of them, but they knew of me being at Fully Charged and stuff like that. So anyway, managed to get them all in. That was great. And then basically the premise was that we had to film these guys doing this race. And Rich was very kind. He came down the night before to film Sarah. And you've seen a version of the video, Rich, haven't you? You haven't seen the full one.
I have.
But you've got the idea with it. But it's very... Because I said to Rich, I don't want any gimbals. I don't want it. It needs to be completely rugged. And I said to him, I don't know if people, I know this podcast goes outside the UK and stuff, but there is a show in the UK called Hunted. As a celebrity or just normal hunted, where these bounty hunters effectively search out contestants all around the UK, and they have to get to an end point and stuff like that. They have to just survive for a certain amount of weeks. And I really wanted that guerrilla style thing, and as well as good audio and stuff. But it was such a good shoot, wasn't it, Rich? It was
good. Yeah, it was good fun. First time I've sort of done really anything like that for you. I've shot stuff with you before where it's been perhaps studio based stuff for charge. And I know that that obviously you were heavily involved in all those type of what did you sort of name the genre of it? Race.
Guerrilla style?
No, the actual sort of the video itself. It's a race video or
it's like a race. Yeah, it's like a race challenge
like
video.
So the first time I'd ever done anything like that. So I didn't really know what to expect, and filming on the embankment first of all near Tower Bridge. Thankfully we had a glorious sunny day.
It was
for it as well.
We were very lucky.
So it was really warm. Being on there, but so it was. I think in terms of that style that you talked about, because I think both myself and obviously the presenter Sarah, we were on foot as well. We had that sort of the rush look of it, So as in a lot of running, and I shot on the A7 A7 III, and there was a lot of sort of rush, sort of camera jolting.
Yeah.
I know, and I thought I'm going to use my 28 to 75 sort of zoom.
Yeah.
So you've got that sort of, you stop, and then you've got, you see when you watch these sort of programs on the telly, and then they've got that sort of, they zoom in quickly, and the camera's trying to focus and finding the person's
crash zoom type thing.
It shows that sort of level of that sort of gives that sort of high energy sort of panic almost. The contestants panicking, but also the cameraman's panicking as well, and it makes the audience panic as well. I suppose.
It's that sort of kinetic feel to the filmmaking as well as the edit, because the edit was going to be, because I said so there was Rich, there was me, and then there was a guy called Jack Morford, he's very new to this, but he's doing really well. And I basically said to everybody, right, what we need is chaos. That's what we need. We need organized chaos. And it's quite difficult because actually on the pier, or wherever the embankment, Sarah couldn't get down there until about midday. I think she was early, actually.
Oh, yeah, of course,
so we had to film with the two guys picking out a seemingly random envelope with car keys and just an envelope saying you got the bike, effectively. And then we had to basically edit in Sarah doing the same thing. So
that's right, yeah.
But fortunately, the good thing with that was that Rich was there in the morning to see where we imaginarily put... that's the word, Sarah in that shot, so that because at one point we had to sell it, otherwise it'd be really obvious that she wasn't there.
She wasn't there,
so at one point I got the guys to turn around and say, you've got the, so pointing off screen, you've got public transport, and she almost reacts to that, and I made sure that there was a J cut under there, just for her to almost react to that, and it works. Well, I think it works. I think it's difficult because Rich and I would both know the setup, so we know that maybe that doesn't work. But I think everybody else who's seen it, they haven't picked up on it. Was Sarah there in the morning? So
that's the thing, isn't it? Because obviously we couldn't do. I mean, obviously, I guess in the ideal world, when these logistical things don't unfortunately work on the day, and like this, you have got to do those that fudge sort of thing where you've got to try and pretend that they were there. But ideally, obviously, it would have been great to have had a Tower Bridge and have a wide shot of the three of them sort of having a bit of a chat. But but again, like I said, it worked, and I think it looks like that she was there. To be honest, I think we did it, filmed it really well, and it was quite interesting because, like I said, I've never done anything like that before. Am I allowed to say how staged it is or how contrived it is? Is that the right word?
Yeah, it's completely staged, completely contrived. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
100%. There's nothing. I mean, the only thing which is because actually Sarah had a map of saying where she had to go, but we had to make it look like she didn't know where she was going.
Yeah.
But so I gave all the videographers and everybody a cheat sheet saying, look, they need to at some point say this, they need to do this, they need to go here.
Yeah.
But Rich had another level of like, okay, you've got to get on this bus and all that sort of stuff. But go on.
Yeah, it's quite funny because she said, obviously I had this cheat sheet and I sort of glanced at it and I said, right, the bus stop is called, we need to go to Halifax Road or whatever it was a name. Oh, we got to get right. Okay, I've got to get to Halifax Road, and I read it quite quickly. I thought, we need to get to Halifax Road. So if you can just go up to someone random now and ask them where Halifax Road is.
So what she said.
Yeah. So she does that. Okay, excuse me. Do you know where Halifax Road is? And all these tourists, obviously surrounding Tower Bridge. Never heard of that. And then I look back at it about 5 minutes later. Oh, actually, it's not called Halifax Road. It's called Holston Road or something.
Right.
And I got, oh god, it's not it's actually Holston Road, Sarah. And she goes, oh, right, okay. So then she had to do a bit to camera saying, oh, my goodness me, I've been going around to people asking about Halifax. It's actually called Holston Road, So,
I didn't even put that in.
Yeah.
I didn't even put it in.
So there's elements like that, I suppose. And that's the difficulty, I suppose, I guess, when you're doing that edit as well, because you wouldn't have been there to have...
well, no, it wasn't that. I saw that bit, but it was like... It was difficult because I needed that, especially the first chapter. I needed like quick.
Yeah,
I needed to get the story going, and so that bit was just a bit too. It just slowed the pace down. I needed that pace to be fast, and just chaotic, and that was too much of an explainer. It's good bit of footage, but it just didn't suit the tone and the flow of the edit.
And I suppose as well, because the difficulty, I suppose, with the element that I was shooting, obviously with the bike and the Mini, it was a constant sort of a constant panic or whatever, right from the start, finding it and then driving it, getting out of London, and then getting on the motorway. But I suppose with Sarah's the shot with the element of Sarah was the initial panic was probably in the first half an hour when we got from Tower Bridge to the station, and then when we got on the train to Braintree. Almost that was it, there was so I had to try and when we got to Braintree, we had to then try and panic, pretend that we were panicking. Where's the button to open the train? Where's the minibus? Oh, the minibus. Oh, here it is. Oh, there's the minibus. There was, and then it was almost right. So you just got to pretend now that, oh my god, I want to be. I hope I'm the first to try and keep that energy level going as well.
And that's exactly what the cheat sheet was there for. Just being like, because the way I look at it, because I'm an editor first. I'm just thinking of my timeline in a purely selfish way. All I think about is so if somebody's saying, this race has got to be more than just, it wasn't just about racing, it was about other things as well. And so I wanted people to say at some point, what is this race about? It must be just more about, can't just be a race. It must be about blah, blah, blah. So, and you sort of you drip feed these things in. And it was interesting because I showed it to somebody who hadn't seen anything, didn't know any of the premise or anything. And I really wanted to do like the Apprentice style. So I made a map and everything showing how people would get to certain places. And I didn't make it completely obvious, excuse me, that it was 50 miles away. Because if I made that completely obvious, then people would know straight away that the bike was not going to win that, because how would the bike possibly win? It might win going to London. In fact, it was going to win. And that was the point. I made the script and the edit feel like, the bike was going great guns straight away because it could just blast through most red lights, all that sort of stuff. Sarah was, actually, that's incorrect. The Paul could get the car and go really fast, really soon, and then just stopped by traffic. So he thinks he's going to do really well. Then he stops. Then the bike basically overtakes him. And then Sarah comes along, and then the bike gradually catches up and overtakes. And that was the flow and the way I wanted to shift the audience. And I showed it to somebody yesterday who hadn't seen it before, and they were like, "Oh, I thought the bike was going to win. Oh, actually, I think Sarah's going to win." And actually, no, the bike. So and that's what I wanted. I wanted that, and I call that the Apprentice effect, where You always have one team who's doing like, oh, they're awful, and then actually they switch sides every edit. Every edit.
Yeah.
Once you understand it, one team's doing really badly, one team's doing really well. Oh well, I'm clearly that team's clearly won this one, and then it gradually overtakes. And it's like, oh, so which one did win in the end? So, that was my aim. So hopefully that'll come across.
And where will people get to see it?
So that's going on some YouTube channel somewhere. I don't know. I don't think that channel technically exists. But like our own on YouTube. But I'm happy to put a link in. Have you still got the Facebook page?
On Instagram. Yeah. I don't think I've logged into the Instagram in a long time, so apologies about that. Maybe a year ago, but we'll get on that with that.
Yeah, just so people know as well, we are now recording this podcast, as in like filming it. So hello. Rich and I, we have got very different. Actually, our studios actually, in a weird way, they're quite similar. So I'm looking at Rich at the moment. To my left, I've got a chair with my logo, which is a circular logo. Rich has also got a brown leather chair to his left, or my left, and he's also got a circular clock, which has never worked in the past 10 years that I've been speaking to him.
Because I changed the battery about 20 minutes before we came on live, because I thought Ben's going to notice that clock, and he's going to say something, that clock's still not working. So I literally changed the battery on it this morning.
Is it actually working? Oh, it actually is.
Yeah,
oh my God, it actually is.
12:15, and it's 12:15.
Oh, God, well.
Look at that.
That's only taken you how many years?
Well,
and Rich, you blatantly tidied up as well. That's quite.
I did. I literally. Well, I just basically brought all the rubbish forward.
Yeah, so you can't
underneath the camera.
Yeah.
So then when we're finished,
that's what all the pros do. That's what all the pros do.
But I am liking your backdrop. I mean, I know, and I came up to see you a couple of weeks ago, and I think you were in mid change of your studio. So I like the colours actually.
That's my YouTube 1 million gold thing. So that's there. I've got a rock salt lamp. No,
nice
Himalayan rock salt, whatever they call it.
Yeah, I like the colour.
That's my old fake thingy light. That's a fake plant. That is walnut behind here. If, by the way, this is lost to people who are just listening to the podcast. And my dad's old leather chair, which he loved. So
that's my dad's chair.
Is it?
Yeah. It is my dad's chair, because my mum's just moved out of the house. We're clearing out the house, and I brought that home that's my dad's leather chair.
Oh, how funny!
Wow,
I did not know that. That's my dad's chair. Richard's got his dad's chair, but so it's it's one of those things. But as I say, we are going to put these on YouTube, aren't we, Rich? But we'll have we set that up yet? We haven't yet, have we?
No, not yet. But now I've seen your backdrop. I want to do something with mine now. I haven't painted this wall probably in about 10 years.
You used to have LED, like coloured LEDs stuff, but then I guess it's daytime, so it's difficult to.
I mean, obviously, the same for you. I mean, I'm in the loft here, so I've got skylights everywhere. But I have got Philips Hue lights in the ceiling. And there's one over there. So
I've got Philips Hue under my shelf back there.
I like that shelf. I want to do a shelf like that because I'm pointing at them, trying to point at yours. I turned around to point, and it's not pointing at me. But I do like that. That's quite on point and on trend, isn't it? Those slats.
Yeah. Because they're acoustic foam ones, and I've got acoustic panels above here as well. And there's some acoustic panels you can't see in front of me as well. But if you just fill this room with acoustic paneling, that would be great. But it still wouldn't be enough,
No.
But yeah,
it does look very. No, I was going to say your office looks very tidy. Yeah. So have you pushed all your stuff onto the desk as well?
Most of it's on that side of the room because I've got like a single garage conversion, so I'm basically width-wise in the garage, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at me, you can see this blank light coming in. That's the window where the door was, and that side is a bit more. My old Kallax from IKEA used to be behind me. That's now moved over there. I've had to sacrifice one unit. But do you know what's really interesting? The other thing I want to talk to you about is what time are we at? 40 minutes. Oh, okay, we're doing all right.
I need to finish at about 12:30. Sorry, is that all right?
12:30. Yeah, it's fine. So
about 15 minutes.
So the other thing I want to talk to you about I've got a new bit of kit. It's only small, but I got to admit, for me, it's absolute game changer. It is so impressive, and I haven't got it to hand now. Typical, but you know what it is. It's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3.
Oh yes, you showed me this last week.
Oh my God, man, that camera. Oh, what the whole package, I should say. The camera is basically a tiny gimbal which you get on like any of their quadcopters and whatever. So and it's a 1-inch sensor. And actually, the sensor's not bad, actually. It's not bad. It's got D-Log M with it. And it's just like a run and gun type thing, little gimbal. It looks sort of feeble in your hand, it's that type of thing. But, I had to film basically the car thing, because I film a fair few cars these days. I had to film the race with the car thing. Coming out of London on a dual carriageway and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I can't drive and get rollers. So rollers are basically cars coming to you. You can track them and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But this allows you to do that. So what you do, you can link it to your phone and you basically put a box, just like any quadcopter. You put a box around the thing you want to track and it tracks it beautifully. And I just put one suction cup, a big suction cup, on the back of my car. And my car is black, the thing's black, everything's black, so it all blends in quite nicely. And Paul was going for overtakes. It followed him all the way around until it went off, till he went too far and it went off. Then he came back and the camera realised it was him again and went, whoa, there you are. And it was... Honestly, man, it
amazing.
Is absolutely a game changer for rollers and doing car stuff. I'm not sure how good it would be for weddings, but for anything else, it was. Oh my god, it saves me, because what we used to do completely illegally: boot up, guy strapped in onto the Isofix, so a harness around them, and then if a cop came along, we had to put the lid down quick to not be caught. But we can't live like that, quite frankly. No. I mean, I'm not sure how you can, if you're allowed to really put stuff on the outside of your car. But this is so small, and honestly, I can't. And also, the one I got was the combi pack or something, where it's got one of those DJI mics as well. And I attached that to the talent in the car, the contestant in the car, and I was probably about 1.50 feet away. I could hear him perfectly clearly. Amazing on the mic, and it was like, this is nuts.
It makes so much easier for doing that sort of kind of filming.
It's so much easier, and now I can actually do car shoots really simply.
Oh, obviously, I saw the your first rough cut of the video. And I didn't realise that when I watched it back. I didn't realise until you told me last week when you showed me the Osmo that was from that camera.
I got that footage.
I presumed that you shot it on a DSLR,
like sticking my arm and face out the window to get that shot.
Exactly. As you were driving, one under the wheel, one hand on the camera. Because it did. I thought it looked amazing. I thought I want one now.
Oh, I know, but
just for the fun of it.
Yeah, because I got mine from. Okay, I wasn't completely convinced, but I got mine off MPB. Do you know they're like they're like a used site where you can sell stuff and buy stuff. So it was, if I bought it on Amazon, it would have been 750 quid, but I bought it for 500 with all the kit. It was basically as new. There was nothing wrong with it at all. So it was like a brand new one. And it actually came. The only thing that was different with it, with the box, was opened, but everything else was like. I don't think the guy even got it out because it was still in its original packaging within. Yeah. Like there's sort of like little pockets of the thing. It was still in them, and I was like, I don't think this has been used at all. So maybe I got lucky there, but it's absolutely amazing, man. The other thing, the other top tip for that one, I would say, because I stupidly put that right in the center of my vehicle, and actually, probably what I should have done, if I put it to the right of the vehicle, as in, if you're looking at the back of my car, I should say. On the left-hand side of the car, then if they went for an overtake, that dynamic overtake footage, the camera would track around rather than, because at the moment my car got in the way. It's because I was in the center. But if you put it on the corner, they could overtake, and then you could go past 90 degrees, probably to about 120, 160 degrees probably, and then the car would start to get in shot. But that was the only thing I'd say that I do differently with that.
And
it was amazing.
did you tether it to the car as well with just in case the suction fell off?
No, I didn't. I probably should have done. But
next time.
The suction cups I got them a few months ago, and they're like industrial ones. They're like big ones. So I was fairly confident, to be fair. But yes, I probably should get a little tether to it as well. So just like a little bit of rope around the boot lid or something like that, just to give it a little extra. But the thing weighs nothing. The thing weighs nothing.
No. I remember doing that with some GoPros, when I did one of the car rallies, and I didn't tether it the one time.
Oh,
and
I remember this. Yeah.
And the one time I did it, one shot I did it, and I literally got a suction cup, and it's the GoPro suction cup that came with all the pack that you buy originally, and I put it sort of almost on one of the arches of the Golf that we had, this old Golf, on the door, so the camera was looking at the wheels. So when the wheels were turning, you got the lovely shot of the wheels, the front wheels coming in and out as you're turning the steering wheel, going around bends. It looked epic. And then I thought, my next shot now will be on the one above, and the next shot then I'll do one from the back. And I didn't tether it at all. And then we stopped then for lunch, and one of the other guys had said, "Well, are you going to put a tether on that?" And I was like, "Nah, it'd be all right." No, you should. And he talked me into doing it. So I went, okay, then go on then. And he had a little wire tether that he had with his GoPro, so I did it. And then lo and behold, when I tethered it, I did this shot of driving along, and this time the camera was at the back, so I was, again, similar to what you were doing on the Osmo, where you had it at the back filming other cars behind. Yeah. So I was doing that shot. We were driving down through the Alps and all these lovely roads, and all of a sudden I was watching through the rear view mirror, and I could see it just rolling off the back windscreen into the path of all these what I thought was all the cars behind. It was just going to get crushed, but luckily I tethered it. So the only time I'd ever tethered it was the only time it actually had fallen off.
Well,
which is
there
weird.
You go. It knows. You see, it knows. All these GoPros and stuff they're renowned to be suicidal. So it's definitely a thing. Yeah.
I mean, I've still got it here somewhere. I mean, to be honest, the GoPro Hero 4 Black that I had, which is probably about 10 years old, if not more.
I was going to say, there's like 14, 15, I don't know what we're up to now, to be honest. Yeah.
But that was amazing. It was a great camera. And that was 4K.
I remember,
and that was 10 or more years ago.
I remember when we used to hang on GoPro releasing their cameras. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We used to be like, GoPro released camera? Yeah. And suddenly they released a camera and like, are you getting that? Nah, not mine.
No, that's it.
And that was off the bandwagon then. That was so weird.
I think I had the 2, the 3, and the 4, and then I stopped at the.
I say I'm like that more about DJI stuff now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it's almost spontaneous. It's almost at that point of spontaneity. Those products now.
Yeah, and the GoPros used to be amazing. I'm pretty sure they still are, but I think that they've fallen out of favour now that DJI do their own action cam, Sony do their own action cam.
Well, they've got an ecosystem as well, and GoPro just can't really do that as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Do you remember that?
Well, do you remember GoPro released that drone, didn't they? Is that what you were going to say?
I just tried to say that. Yeah, I just tried to say that, and it was like a stick, which is also that. It was a really clever idea. It was a clever idea, but.
It was a detachable camera, wasn't it, on a drone,
basically,
I think?
Yeah,
and it came out in a selfie stick, and it just fell on its ass. I think the camera was the camera itself was rubbish, the drone itself was rubbish, the whole thing, the platform that they used was just absolutely diabolical. It just didn't sell one unit.
I think that was the problem. And just, again,
because originally, GoPro, if you had a DJI product like a Phantom 2 or Phantom 3 that, back at the early stages of quadcopters, you had to have a GoPro because DJI's camera wasn't that good.
It was a Zenmuse gimbal, wasn't it?
Yeah, you had the gimbal on the bottom and then the GoPro, and then you flew it that way, and then you had to spend half your editing time trying to get rid of the curvature of the GoPro's fisheye lens.
Yes, all these filters to get rid of it.
Try and bring the horizon back level. Yeah,
I'm aware of the time, Rich. I know you got to go, but it was lovely having a sort of catch up. Good to work with you as well.
I know.
We're going to try and do this properly and keep going with it. It's actually shock horror. It's actually in the diary every week.
It is. You've sent me a diary invite from now until eternity. So I don't think there's a limit. It's literally gone and like.
Week in retirement is going to be that one quite soon.
Yes. Yeah. But honestly, we do promise you that we turn in a new page. We're turning over a new leaf. We're going to do this more regularly. I've met a few of you a couple of weeks back at FedWed in Bristol, and I know a handful of you said to me, when you're doing the podcast again, we miss it. It's nice to have it to go to weddings and whatever. And that's just weddings. Obviously, we want to attract people outside the wedding industry as well, as we did over the last 10 years, I think, however long we've been doing this for.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we promise you more commitment to this.
Yes.
The only time we're not going to do them is if I'm on a shoot or Rich's on a shoot. Basically, that's kind of how it works. Even if you've got nothing to say, which is more often than not, we're still going to record something.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've got,
and we'll get a YouTube channel set up soon as well, so you can see our faces.
And again, any ideas you want us to talk about, anything, send us an email or text us, whatever you've got, or Instagram.
What's the email? I don't know what this stuff is anymore.
Hang on a minute. Last time I used this was a long time ago. Let me go. Sorry. Dun, dun, dun. Bit of music while we're waiting for me to
but
look
also
at this.
Instagram as well. But you know, it can really help us out if you can leave us a 5-star rating and review whilst we wait for Rich, because that stuff really helps motivate us, quite honestly. So if you can do that, that would be really, really helpful. Just a few words. Doesn't need to be much more.
Yeah. The email address is owivpodcast@gmail.com.
owivpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, the last email we had from a person was the 8th of September 2023. So from Sam Eli Rivera.
And I assume you got back to them.
Didn't get back to him. So Sam, by the next, we'll answer your question from September last year on the next podcast.
which he's completely worked out by himself about a day after that podcast that email was sent. Anyway, shoot, edit, repeat, everybody. Keep going.
Shoot, edit, repeat. Indeed. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Cool. That was fun.
Let me stop.